Hello, hello. It is Wednesday. I ended up taking Monday off entirely to just chill out, finish making the baby blanket that I've been working on for 6 months. And then Tuesday I edited videos. So that should be up now. In fact, if you're watching this, it's definitely up because this won't be coming out until next week. Absolutely wild to me, but by the time this comes out, it will be basically Christmas. Hilarious. Anyway. Last week was highly successful. I'm feeling pretty good about where stuff is. This week, I'm basically mono-focused on 2 things, my sewing desk and the work table. It's been a while, so why don't we have a little tour of those things? So here you have the lovely windowsills, which we cleaned and sorted in the last video. I'm still not entirely happy with this windowsill, but it is better than it was. At least things have some semblance of order. And that brings us on to this desk. So underneath is looking okay. I mean, the main thing back there was my vintage sewing machine, which has now gone to the vets to be repaired. And I have already started making a little bit of progress around here. I'm really quite happy with this as a storage system. My main problem with using trim is always just knowing what trim I have. And so there we go. You can see it. You can see it all. Even the drawers that have lots of little bits in them, they are vaguely grouped, so I can be like, I need a bit of lace, and I can go down here and go, yeah, those are some drawers with bits of lace in them. This bag is my bin. I have a bin right here for all the bits of thread and spools and other just gubbins that you produce while you're sewing, because if I don't throw it away and it just piles up on the desk. This thread needs to go away somewhere. The snips and the awl are like basically the 2 things that I use while I'm sewing, so they will need to go there. These patterns need to go somewhere. That thing underneath them is a desk mat that I may well use. Hopefully it will stop. My Singer Simple, which I bought second hand because it was the cheapest machine with a 1-step buttonhole. And as much as I love my vintage machine, it sucks at buttonholes. It does slide across the desk away from me as I sew, especially if I'm doing anything like chunky. So maybe the desk mat will help with that. There's just gubbins back here. The serger has its little hat that it needs to actually wear properly. There's just a lot of random bits and pieces back here. And then the pegboard, which is in theory where all my tools should live, is really not being utilised. So just like the cupboard last week, you have to move the stuff that's living in front of it so that you can get into the habit of using it as intended. And then you can see right down to the enormous pile of fabric. But anyway, this is the cutting table. The back side of the cutting table for a while now has just been like works in progress. The problem is that some of them have been there for over a year. Some spinning stuff. This is my Christmas station. It's all the advent calendars. There's just rubbish. There's tools. There's projects that I found while tidying up the rest of the room, and so I've just dumped them here. This is my ironing station. I need to get rid of, I have a little cubby down there where I keep my ironing stuff, and I need to get rid of the old iron, which is still a perfectly good iron, but I'm not using it anymore because I have my shiny new iron. Shiny new. I got it for Christmas last year. The fake fur needs to live somewhere else. Some of this is actually not even fabric, it's just kit that I can't get into. Well, you've seen what the kit storage looks like, so that is a longer term problem. I have no idea what the last clip I filmed was. So it's now Thursday evening. Yeah, it's like 6 o'clock. And I haven't really been filming because I was like, I'm not really doing very much. I've just been sort of bobbing in, doing 5 minutes of sorting out, bobbing out again, all that kind of stuff. Let me just show you what things look like right now. So we have the Christmas station. The Christmas station hasn't really changed. We have free space on this side. The Argonaut's still there, but that's fine. The Argonaut can stay right there. I obviously have not touched the pile of quilts that need to be quilted. This is free space. Then we have the Christmas station, which is doing its thing. And then we have more free space as I'm coming around here. This is some solo RPGs that I backed on Kickstarter. I need to do something about those. That box is dolls, long story. I need to do something about those. Some bits and bobs that I need to tidy up. These are all patches I need to put on my battle jacket. I can do that. The ironing mat is free. All of this area is free. These are all my quilting rulers. I need to figure out how I'm going to store those. I have an idea, but I need to get my partner to do some woodwork for me. This is a bin. File that one under. I need a bin literally everywhere or it doesn't work. And then let me take you to... Here is the sewing desk. So the Singer Simple's obviously still there with its dust cover on. My other machine hasn't come back yet. I've got the mat underneath it to stop it jiggling around. The serger has its dust cover on as well. We'll see how long those last. Realistically, who leaves the dust covers on their machines? Look at this. Look at how clean it is. It's all been tidied up. Everything's been tidied. I've even tidied this bit under here. Not a lot, you know, it's vaguely organised. So here's my problem. There is still stuff that needs doing. However, it's a series of very specific problems. This bag needs sorting. It's all patterns. However, as previously mentioned, this is where the patterns live, and there's a slight issue that I have not resolved yet. This is my fabrics bin. That needs sorting. However, what I normally do with this is sort it into big scraps that I can make something out of, and those go back into the fabric stash already overflowing, and then the little scraps that I can't make anything out of go into these boxes over here to make patchwork out of. They are also pretty full, so I need to make some patchwork. There are the books. The books are doing what the books are doing. I should sort this out. Realistically, I don't know what else I would do with them. And of course, there is still stuff on the back half of the table here. There are some quilts that need quilting. There are some projects that need finishing. There's some stuff that I need to take apart and take patterns from. The best way to clear all this off is going to be to do the projects. So it puts me in this really weird place where the workroom is not tidied fully yet, but it would actually make sense for me to do some sewing. It's a very weird position to be in, to be like, the answer to my problem is actually to bunk off and do fun crafts. I'm not skipping out on the tidying in order to do fun crafts. The fun crafts at this point is part of the tidying? I don't know. I'm in a weird mood. I think I just need to sit with it for a little bit. Well, that's the funniest phone call I've had in a long time. Because I know my partner doesn't watch these videos, I can tell you that I've bought him for his birthday a hoodie from a charity who are attempting to preserve the remaining Class 50 locomotives in the UK. Now, if you don't know anything about trains, you must be like, wow, these must be like really special. They are diesel engines from the late 60s. They were entirely British designed and made, which is unusual, but they are not what anyone who is not super trainy would consider to be a good train. My husband is also not super trainy. He just really appreciates a funny hoodie. I am also getting him a Henry Hoover hoodie and a Henderson's Reddish hoodie because he's been wearing the same 3 black hoodies this entire year. He's a programmer, it's basically all he wears. And that was just someone from the charity calling me to let me know it wouldn't be there in time for Christmas. And I was like, that's completely fine. It's not for Christmas. It's 6 p.m. on a Thursday. I hope that guy's having a good day. Anyway, yeah, so I'm just sort of a bit of a loss what to do right now. Just eating my advent calendar candy kittens and ruminating. So things that I have done. I have ordered a whole bunch of vacuum pack bags so I can start bringing some orders to the Kallax, because I think getting that a bit sorted will also help. Like if I could get it to a place where I could maybe take some stuff that cutting table is supported on 5 Billy bookcases. If I could get it to the point where some of the stuff on the far side, off the bookcase and into, for example, those boxes that can go into a Kallax, that would be really cool because I could put more fabric on the shelves. All comes down to fabric in the end, doesn't it? Equally, if the LARP kit is taking up less space, then I have more space to add back LARP kit that I've made. So there will presumably be a vlog at some point where I'm just like, here is some of my LARP kit. Am I keeping it? Almost certainly. What am I going to do with it? The answer there is probably either store it, because I love making LARP kit, but I would like to not have to make everything from scratch every time. That would be great. Or the alternative is some of it I've been looking at and genuinely going, I would just wear that. My wardrobe's weird enough now, I would just wear that. So there's a distinct possibility that some of it comes out of the LARP wardrobe and goes into my regular wardrobe. Equally though, I think my regular wardrobe is due a sort through, because some of it could go into the LARP wardrobe and be stored for the future instead of taking up space in my wardrobe on a day-to-day basis, because you don't need to wear evening dresses that often. But yeah, bit of a weird couple of days. I have, in theory, achieved quite a lot in 2 days, but in practice I'm looking at it and going like, well, what do I do now? It's that whole struggling with transitions thing, isn't it? Yeah, that guy's always popping back up again and making a nuisance. A strong part of me is very tempted to just get the Argonaut out and have a play, because I've been watching Stitches and Starlight's Vlogmas spin-alongs, and it's basically got me going, oh man, I haven't spun in ages. I could get back into spinning. Now would be a bad time. Not because spinning is bad or because I don't want to or anything, just because I know that if I start, I'm gonna get sucked into it in a really big way, and I could do with not spending the next 2 weeks just spinning. Aside from anything else, that's a video idea. Ah, heck, no one watches these vlogs anyway. I'm still like low-key bitter that I missed out on Tour de Fleece, so I'm going to have my own Tour de Fleece with blackjack and an e-spinner, only because I'm me. I've got sucked into the hole of researching iconic Tour de France stages. I am way too into road cycling, and it shows. I suspect this video would become borderline unwatchable if I got into it in a big way. But I might just get into it in a really big way. What there is, I've got a big bag of DK weight yarns that I want to make baby clothes out of. So I could cake those up so they're all ready to go, because currently they're all in skeins. I have a quilt top that I was part of the way through that I could pick up again. I have baby's Christmas stocking, which is a printed panel, so I could make that up. That's a quick little project. Yeah, I have a bunch of small craft things that I could do and that I probably wouldn't feel too bad about doing before I have completely tidied the workroom, because I think this might be about as tidy as the workroom is going to be for a little while. Caking yarn requires zero brain, and also you don't then have to do anything with it. You've caked some yarn and the yarn is now caked. So we might just do that. Hello friends, it's Saturday now. I caked up all of the DK yarn I want to make into baby clothes. I did a few other little tidies around the place. And you know what? I'm done. For now. I do have some plans for finishing up projects that are currently taking up space. That feels like a January problem. But right now I have 2 clean, usable desks. I have a mostly clean, definitely usable work table. And I'm feeling at a bit of a loose end, continuing to try and tidy. So I think we just get into making stuff. Right now, what I want to make is baby's stocking. I have this pre-printed panel. I did grab some fabric to line it with. I had forgotten how big it was. I'm not 100% sure I have enough fabric to line it with, but we shall see. I'm just very chill about the whole thing. But fundamentally, I think this is going to be the last video of Vlogmas, and I think this is going to be the last thing I do in it. And I think that's a pretty good way to end the year. There definitely still is stuff needs doing in this room, but it's fine. We'll do it another time. Incidentally, if you've not been following on Instagram, just Instagram, because everyone else complains about copyrighted music, I got way too into advent calendars this year. See aforementioned coping with a near-death experience by buying too much. I've had 2 yarn advent calendars. They've been amazing. One's by the Crafty Bird. The other one is Creative Anarchy. The Creative Anarchy one is Grimm's fairy tale themed, heavily drawing on the illustrations by Arthur Rackham. 100% love that. More importantly, it's not a fade. And then the Crafty Bird one is Christmas at Pooh Corner. So it's all just Winnie the Pooh inspired colorways. Again, not a fade, but there's some nice continuity in that. I'm of course in the problem where I'm looking at them and going, do I want to make one project out of these instead of just shoving them into the Hexie Puff quilt? We'll see. I also got a candle advent calendar from Historically Candles. They're all historically inspired scents. It smells so good. Just a little tea light for each day, but they're like chunky tea lights. They're like double stacked. They're like 6 hours. Smell really good. And I got the World of Wool fiber advent again. I got it last year as well. Really liked it. Haven't spun it yet, obviously, but I'll get around to it. This year it's food themed, and I'm enjoying it a lot. They print you a massive book that tells you all of the blends and what the inspiration behind it was, and I'm learning about Christmas food in other cultures. It's great. However, that's all preamble too. I got myself a 12 Days of Christmas advent calendar from the Dryad Bookshop because I have been reading way more since baby came home. It is a really good thing to do because at any point you can just put the book down and pick up the baby. However, you got to pick your genre, right? And they were very like, I could have had fantasy, I could have had romantasy, I could have had young adult, but I was feeling a bit burnt out on fantasy and young adult because young adult's all kind of the same. I feel bad saying that, but it's all kind of the same. And that's what I like about it. It's also what I don't like about it. I signed up to the Fairy Loot Epic Fantasy subscription this year, and it's been shit. I was really excited because I was like, great, this is basically the description of what I want from fantasy. Big, sprawling plot lines, world building, romance, but not as the main focus of the story. And there's 1 book to go, but so far they have sent me 3 doorstops by straight white men, or at least men who appear white in their author photos and whose bios mention a wife. But they've got female protagonists. So, and I'm like, Fairy Loot, straight men do not want sprayed edges. Who are you marketing this to? It genuinely feels like I've travelled back in time 10 years. Women write fantasy. I don't know if you've noticed that. So anyway, that's all just preamble to me saying that I looked through the genres that were on offer for this advent calendar and I was like, hell with it. Give me horror. Because I'm kind of sick of nice books. Everyone's been very lovely with their book recommendations, but it feels like every other book recommendation is like, oh, this is great. It's like a comfortable read with a queer normative world. And I'm like, I'm going to stop you right there. That's not what I want. I want books that make me feel slightly unsettled. The best book that I've read this year is You Weren't Meant to Be Human. Look up the synopsis of this book and see if you think it was a good idea for me to read that the week before we brought baby home from the hospital. Anyway, horror. This was the first book in there, debut novel, Korean-American author, by a woman, a young woman, pretty solid, pretty good, quite liked it. Second book, gay gothic horror, actually written by a man. Fantasy romances could never. I didn't actually like it. I thought it was, it did too much, but, I finished it. Third book was Teenage Girls Could Be Demons by Hailey Piper, a collection of short stories by a trans woman. Not my thing, but I appreciated it. I think she could write well. Some of the ideas were super interesting. There was one about magical girls that was entirely up my alley, but I think that was the subject matter more than... I didn't quite vibe with it, not because it wasn't good, it just wasn't for me. Which, now that I'm saying it out loud, it's a collection of stories about girlhood and being a woman. Obviously it didn't quite vibe with me. It was good. If you think that sounds good, you'll probably really like it. It's incredibly well written. Then there was a Christmas themed anthology, which I am chipping away at, but I'm not really one for short stories, if I'm completely honest with you. Oh, whoops. Okay. When did that come out? We'll sort that out. Sorry, I've just realised I've lost an earring. I'm going to have to sort that in a second. Yeah, Christmas-themed anthology of short stories, really not my thing. I'm kind of chipping away at it on and off, but whatever. Then I got Listen to Your Sister, which is, I believe, a debut. Then I got this, A Haunting in the Arctic. Sounds like it's going to convince me to watch The Terror at last. Then this book called So Thirsty by Rachel Harrison, which sounds like Girls' Weekend with vampires. And then I just opened And the River Drags Her Down, which has an Andrew Joseph White quote on the back and is about bringing your sister back from the dead. It's definitely, she's fine. Don't worry about it. Anyway, the short version of this is, I am so psyched. This is such a good selection of books. I've got 4 more to unwrap, and I'm not going to do it yet because I've fallen behind a bit with reading them. I just wish the people making, and I understand why they don't, but I wish the people making subscription boxes and fancy special editions would be a little bit more ambitious, a little bit more challenging. I understand there's not that much variation in YA. I do feel like Fairy Loot go out of their way to include authors of colour and some queer books. They're all sapphic, but that's fine. They include some queer books in the general Fairy Loot young adult subscription. So why the hell they decided that epic fantasy was going to be their one subscription that is only male authors? It's just weird. It's not what I come to you for. It's not what I want. That's enough complaining. Anyway, I have 1 more book to come in the Epic subscription, and unless it's incredible and not by a straight white man, I'm cancelling that. I don't need that in my life. I'm not being introduced to new authors. I'm not expanding my horizons. I have been eyeing up, there's a company called Broken Binding who do a joint sci-fi and fantasy subscription, which sounds good. And I know that their most recent one was actually the newest book by Ken Liu. I know I've pronounced that surname wrong. I'm sorry. So that sounds promising. I also believe that Dryad Books do a subscription. So we might have a look at that. We might just keep an eye and see what they pick out, because I did find a queer-only subscription box, but I looked through their previous books and they all sound bloody awful. I'm not saying which one it is because I don't want to... I'm sure people but again, that thing where people are like, oh, this is a nice book where nothing bad happens and it's queer normative, and I don't want that. That's not me. I want trans man pregnancy horror. Or what if you were a magical girl, only the rest of the world thinks you're a boy? That's where I'm at. And now the baby is wriggling and I have been talking for solidly 20 minutes, so let's sort her out and then do some sewing. So there we go. One Christmas stocking made and filled. Not gonna lie, it's bigger than I remembered it was. I was putting it together and going, oh dang, this is gonna look really weird because we haven't really got a lot of presents for the baby because she's our baby. Yeah, turns out that wasn't a problem. People love buying things for babies. I just wanted to say thank you to everyone for coming along with me on Vlogmas. It has been really good. My workroom still has a ways to go, but we've made so much progress. I'm really pleased with it. And it's been so good to have the motivation of vlogging to get me into the workroom at all, which, you know, is a little bit more challenging these days. It's worth it though, it's worth it. But that's it from me for now. Down in the description box you can find links to follow me on other platforms, you can find a link to my Ko-fi page, and you can become a channel member. Channel members get early access to the videos, plus a couple of extra perks. I still need to write my book blog for both channel and Ko-fi members, but regardless of how you're supporting the channel, I couldn't do what I do without your help. And I do think that is all there is to say, so dream big, and I'll see you next year.